in terms of their team play, you can point to similarities between the squads. SEN arguably better on paper, but G2 have defied expectations at all times against super teams like this.
I'm looking for fast play out of Sentinels to set the pace throughout this game on this attack side. Already pushing it up towards long, trying to spot Jonah P. There's no more of that early flashing info, so pushing him off of that super early could gain them an advantage on the other side of the map as well.
Dizzy's up top. Dizzy has targets.
There's the acknowledgement, at least with a Dizzy up into the air. Mid-round information.
Bomb buddy out.
Pretty vital commodity. You have to try and fight over. G2, nice little high-low setup, getting a decent amount of damage onto Zekken.
That's a high-low setup that they use a lot. Caught out a bunch of teams that they've played against. And SEN immediately aware of it. You saw the way that Zekken peaked.
And look at that buffer that you actually have from Trent with his flash info. They're not using a single flash from Jonah P, so you could use it on the retakes.
Here comes the group up towards short, though. SEN, after playing a very slow default for a minute, are ready to exec.
I'm going to have Showers controlled, though. They're setting up Prime to the util. Dizzy over the top, Horn to follow through. Gives them access to the front of it. And again, they have to watch for the Showers control. Icy, this time with reinforcements, TPing quick onto the trail as well. John QT cannot hold his ground. It's dropped at a moment's notice, but the spike has been planted. You've got that extension and a reflank occurring. Rapidly approaching Jonah P. There's a shot to the head straight away. Sassy gonna be dropped. 10's going for more. Trying to lock it down into the short angle, but G2 fundamentally on point.
Icy as well, being able to take out Zekken as your opening kill of the round. That's gonna be a head-to-head to follow. So much criticism has been pointed towards Icy, and yeah, he's not superstar player for G2, but he does the business that his team needs. And clearly here, we're set up in a position, especially with the flood back in through the teleport, to secure and hold an important piece of map control.
Risky peek too on Zekken. The fact that he gets that enables that teleporter to come through for everybody else who, remember, was at that B side holding control of long.
Hey, we're back to it.
Let's
okay. And all that lead up just for the anti-eco, but listen, we're back into the match. That's what matters.
Look at this challenge from Icy. He's got that outlaw, and he's got 5 players going at him.
Yeah, this real possibility for him to just farm up a really critical ultimate. Gonna be a flash in his face. Grabnev was already committed to. Icy giving up a bit of that space as well. He's hearing all that pressure. Grab the orb. Full rotation, marathon sprint to the other direction. Leaving Sassy posted here, though. Maybe giving him some extra options a little bit later.
I mean, this very much looks like they're just going to try to farm orbs in this round.
That's an early trailblazer from Jonah P down B long. After spotting and hearing so much from Icy, maybe they didn't get the information that I think, but there was no time for them to be down at Fountain.
Right here.
Jonah P just jiggling the corner here. There's really very little danger of him even getting punished. I mean, the classics on the other side of things. We'll give it up as soon as the smoke. It's propped down, forcing out the molly, defensive util. Just trying to make it expensive.
Not how Sentinels, though, weren't actually able to take B long control in this round, and that's because Leafs put his Viper orb over there. Now, that is going to be a very large difference between the way that these two
30
teams
seconds
function.
left.
Because SEN are running the deadlock. So, having that Viper orb in certain spots around the map, normally B long or on the A default, that's something SEN do not have access to at all.
They hit the go button. Going to try and get this plan down onto the side as well. Trent will attempt to play spoiler, any sort of denial that he can do, but he's still going to plant down, so extension forwards, plenty of bodies running straight towards it.
One enemy remaining.
Building up those ults as well, but clinical stuff from G2.
Very quick and backside there too with the stinger. Very well done. Only 1 player fell, so flawless anti-eco, I would say.
The whole round, however, for Sentinels was designed around getting TenZ's ult online, or at least as close as possible, so that could be a win condition for you as you approach. And Trent, you can see in this replay right there, started the round with only 1 of those ult orbs. So he's miles away on the Thrash, and the Thrash is normally the first one that gets online. TenZ only needs 1 orb, and they have a huge ult to work with.
I am concerned with the fact that they didn't go through that orb that you're talking about.
This time you believe me? Okay, sure. Let's get into it. It's a bonus round here for G2. Guns online for Sentinels. Got to try and convert. Stop this momentum.
God, they're playing like their opponents right now. This is crazy. All 3 rounds, I mean, other than the eco, Or they ran in the bathroom and then ran away.
Momentum might have been the wrong word to use.
One of the really funny things about this as well is that G2 are just looking to play off noise. If you look at these players up here in spawn, the two initiators, they are playing rotate positions, waiting to follow the noise of the attackers. There is no noise.
They've got their knives out just sitting there.
That's their own smoke drop down to split up Hookah. Boombot as well to take control of it.
And that does pull those two players we were mentioning over towards that B side, but Sentinels is not looking to commit at all. Finally going to pick up the spike with a minute left. That's the timing there. And remember, John QT still has all of his util for the execute. For these two players on the site, it's going to be difficult to hold on.
Unfortunate timing, the smoke in their faces, but Sen not going to be discouraged. Sending out a Dizzy, that's pre-aimed. Making sure that he deals with that one. Nade rebounding. Here in the wingman going forward. Somali as well. Ricocheting straight up, and that will be denying the plan, at least for the first wave of things here. Still 28 seconds. Got to get a move on. A fight now into Shower. Sassy. He's got to lock down and hold down this spot and position. His team is going to be counting on him to have control of this area. Might be calling for the backup and reinforcements, but Trent is just making this tricky business to try and clear him out entirely. And he's going to get back up from himself. It's another TP. Dizzy dealt with and shot down as well with G2. They're flooding them, swarming them, the positions. It doesn't matter about this subpar weaponry. Ult in the face to Tate. Both of them. Star-crossed lovers, what the hell can you do? But a fight on the side is all that matters. It's Valorant sticking. Safety in numbers, no chance to send there. What are we watching?
What a round to come back in from.
This is backyard
A
scrimmage.
soft chuckle from Jonah P on that side is the only indication you would get as to the madness that we just saw from G2. I'm wondering what happened to the Thrash on the other side, though.
Yeah.
Ten's got that one up. He used it in a default position. Didn't find any value from it.
But this is just ridiculous. I mean, they're trying desperately
Oh, that's funny.
to take him down and regain control of Shower so they can play that post plan.
We're straight back into this one here. Sen are fully grouped up like they want to go hard and fast here towards this A site. All but ready with a util. It's a nade. Doesn't quite catch on to Icy. He's going to be hiding, tucking himself into this smoke. So he's going to play spoiler if he can. Weaker weaponry again in the hands of these Sentinels players, but they are being swarmed, still haven't cleared. Icy just peek his head over there. Tap from Zelsis, pushed back by the mosh pit. The smoke fades away! Got the satchel to disengage.
Super odd moment there. He's stuck in front of the wall while his teammate's behind it.
G2 looking to increase that tempo though. Deep being turned up, they're trying to flood their way back in, spamming into the corners. They are worried about these positions, and spot seekers have to be used. Judge shot goes off, that's rattled, that does put fear into you. Strikes it deep into the heart. G2 want nothing to do with Lamps. Gonna be going for the out to extremities here of this side of the side as well. Wingman onto the plan, that's gonna be denied as well, but still the feed is built up with entirely green G2. They're dominating this one. John QT is the last one left. John QT, annihilation, it's earned, the time is bought. And he's just waiting for the sound cue, but it's given up. John QT realizing it. That's a win in his books. And a round on the board for Sentinels.
Just unbelievable. All the kills going in G2's favor until John swings wildly for 2 headshots. And we talked about the old Torbs a lot. He wasn't even collecting them. And he gets the perfect one in the perfect moment.
What crazy value in the post plant there from his ult as well. Zelsis, he's one away from having an orbital strike. This composition has big post plant power. Compare that to the Viper. You couldn't pit in a situation like that and win a 1v3. Had to be the rifle and the annihilation.
Whoops.
Whoopsie. Big miss
Can't pick that up anymore.
Exactly. No second go around, but it won't matter anyway. Sentinels once more running the same playbook. Straight into the A side as well, clearing out most of these players here. There's a lot of util to try and push them back and away. Lamps control is going to be vitally important. You can see them looking to fight this. 3 players side by side, shoulder to shoulder. G2 not giving this one up, but still can they maintain their composure against the rifle fire? Yes, they can. Rocket earned and sent. And John QT is dropped. Sassy. It's the last one left here. It's got to do it with a Bulldog in hand, but not able to put up a fight, not against Icy.
Very different idea from G2 on this defensive side. Usually it's just been Icy and Valid holding onto the A site. They throw in all of their utility to deny the plant. This round, they allow SEN the plant, but then they're much quicker with contesting areas, especially lamps, where we saw them fight with 3 people. So G2 mixing it up, making SEN feel like it's going to be their standard denial of plant. And instead, the fight was brought into Zelsis and Zekken really quickly.
Out of charges.
And we heard Valorant talk about slow starts and how they're working on getting rid of that sort of idea. But here they are, making great adaptations. Every time SEN has gone for this hit, they put that wall down into spawn. This time they have 3 people in front of the wall ready to fight lamps.
SEN conditioned in the very beginning of this game, extraordinarily slow defaulting. And now they're just kind of sending it into A.
Launching smoke.
Over and over again, why not? Running back once more, this time on the full eco. But the plant, util maybe going a little bit of miss there. No, just denying him the possibility of getting that plant down as well. Trent's still holding down control. Alt looking to be committed. Valen, orbital strike in his hands. Doesn't go for it though. There's danger in this round with Zekken earning up his own rocket. Zelsis also with the orbital strike. How does this get played? Where's that one getting used? Push it back into lamps. Only the one. Sassy's going to be cleared out. Peace of mind at least. Jonah P trying to wrap this one around still. Like I said, there is still that danger in the round itself. Valen, attack, trying to force it out. Jonah P gets spotted as well. Across the map, it's a volley. It's going to be landing once more, not half onto this spike. Time being bled straight off this clock. Jonah P still needs to land a few of these shots. Celsius holding it with the ult, still choosing to commit it. Apparently feeling like this one is potentially winnable, but they've just been cleaned up.
There's no
Time, no, there's no time. It's ticked away.
Took them so long to be able to get that push-up short on the retake. Very, very different. You remember how long they were just stood in backside, thinking about whether or not to deny the plant. Valen holding off on using that orbital strike. Went for it, took him way too long, especially when Zelsis had the ult online on the other side.
Yeah, but sensing the danger of this round, and it ends up materializing. I think this flank from G2 was almost perfect. But the timing wasn't enough for him to get all the way up and get a couple kills. But you see Sentinels just turn around and get one peek at it. And all of a sudden, you've got time. They're going to go fast up short here, look for a kill. Intense has the op out of nowhere!
Yeah, okay. This guy's doing his something cosplay.
What's bonkers about that as well is, this is the first time that IC has ever taken a peek up into that cubby area in this map.
Yeah, a proactive clear on the defensive side for G2, immediate punish. I was fully ready to talk, consolation prizes for G2 today. Maybe pulled the showstopper out of Sentinels. Despite losing that round in that fashion, but right back at it. They're in a driving seat.
And one of the other problems being that Tens now has the Thrash available again. Yes, last time he didn't get much value out of it. It was Trent that actually had that wild situation outside showers. But here, full clear of hookah, clear into sight. The ult's magnificent on buy.
That gets so deep. And you can see they slow things down so that you actually don't know what's going on if you're G2 right now.
Just enough of a pause as well. Rotations are finally arriving here. Leaf, stray shots. Nothing quite landing. The barrier mesh in his face. A lot of util's going to be committed. Expended out here to try and push these players out of the spot. But again, John QT not to be removed. And again, this wall is just causing too many problems. Round 2. So Thrash being used on equal size, I think, is going to be sending it flying. Detainment, at least catching the one, but still holding it down. Zekken perched up on high, delivering, raining down the death blows, need to follow through.
I think this is one of those situations where you really see the value of that deadlock wall as well. When they go for the A exec, John QT's throwing it into backside where you can just break it easily from that pipe spawn area. Whereas here, you have to be exposing yourself in elbow in order to break that wall. That's a really dangerous thing for G2 to go for. Not only does it delay them, but it might set them up for a death.
Especially when Tens begins to op as well. You just drop a smoke, let it expire, and all of a sudden you're getting that angle while they're breaking the wall. You're so right. It's so interesting to see as well the dueling Thrashes. We've had them. Both times they've been active.
Initiator opping on both sides.
Yeah. Just trying to spot each other out. It's all about who has the better reaction. The Celsius! It takes one to the chest.
And not a single smoke used by Zelsis either, so that's a huge first pick coming out of Jonah P.
It's got to be a wake-up call for Sentinels. No smokes now to use on their own. Might have to just opt into a lot of contacting.
But 10's in the roll. See what he can do. Nobody's showing themselves at all, and Jonah P's rotated here.
Yes, a shot. The whistle's passed. 10s will finally land it. Still no control though. Out towards over into Lance. A mosh pit. All on top to grab net. No time in the own. It just don't receive it on towards the back end. Sassy trying to wrap it around. But it's complete. That pincer maneuver, and they do clean up these players. Wall finally dropped down with the barrier mesh. Another obstacle is going to be
There's space there.
difficult.
There's space there. They don't know.
Oh, he's wiggled his way right past, yet still 10s will collect.
These last few rounds have been so important for SEN to get back into this game. G2 looked like they were in control. The retake ideas were excellent from them. And now SEN are working the map a bit more and putting themselves in favored post-plant positions.
Jeez.
He does show a lot of his body there, but he's not expecting Jonah P to be on such a wide angle. But it's this play into Lamps that crunch almost failed, as Zekken was too slow to follow up on the GravNet Mosh. But SEN pile more players in and get the value from it in the end.
And this op from 10's has been getting incredible value.
GravNet already with the value to Prowler as well. A little bit of spam and a few bullets might do it. Sees all in. There's no way, man. There's absolutely no chance. And still, the fight continues. They've wrapped these Showers players around with ICB and dropped this one. Falls down into the open. At least the issues. Elsis. This guy.
It wasn't
What is
audio
that?
issues. There were no audio issues. He was installing cheats.
What they put in those in-ears.
Yeah, a week goodbye, G2 will see very little value. SEN in full control now of this map. It feels like it's just shifted over.
One enemy remaining.
And
John
now
gets another.
Yeah, I mean, hunting out the remnants.
Annihilation online. 2 away from Orbital Strike and Nightfall. Close even to the Showstopper and the Thrash coming online. SEN are in a spot now that is desperately dangerous for G2. Not only do they need wins for their economy, but they need to be able to draw out ultimates from SEN and still survive and be putting rounds on the board.
Yeah, talk about a snowball at the end of the half. And you remember the round that started this all. With that post-plant that Sentinels plays to perfection with the mollies. You thought...
Previously, we saw 10's fighting against Jonah P on that B-long angle with the AWP. And now, 10's looking to try to contest it, by the look of things, on his own. Seeing if he can find a punish onto an initiator jiggle peeking. But at the moment, holding really passively. It would be dangerous for 10's to step out on an aggressive line, because he's almost always going to have the spike as well as the Gecko player.
And previously in the past, they've used the Thrash to clear out Hookah. This time, maybe use the Boombot and the Flash.
Launching smoke.
Setting up for a smoke to actually go ahead and do that. And they will get the information. G2 has almost never played inside of Hookah so far this game.
Just throws that uncertainty into the back of the minds of the G2 players. They are going to be attempting, I believe, a reclear. You can see Trent kind of posturing for it. Trailblazer straight down. Going for the peak. This is going to give them information, but honestly, a little bit too late. Sentinels have already fully grouped up now, going for this A hit. At least looks like it's on the cards.
Remember though, Molly here, Nade, and Icy's ult. They can delay plant for a long time to buy time for those rotates.
That might be an issue for them as well. Seeing it come through with a satchel as a showstopper! Rebounding it around! Annihilation not sure if there is that connection. Still Valen, he's rapid onto it. Approaches the angle, backs away now, buying time and space for the rest of his team. The fast onto the flank themselves. 2 players wrapping this one. Sentinels need to stick this, get this extension into the play. 10's at least aware of the fact that he could have missed this chance and opportunity, and the timing, it's gone. Past and beneath him, flash into their faces, just about dodged. Nobody has given him an inch, and there's the wraparound. Finally, the backstab occurring. Celsius has to put a stop to this, considering using the util as well, but he won't be saving it for the post plant. And again, that discipline on display. G2 not giving anything away, fully grouped up, making sure that they can face all of these fights together. Util points it out and paints that picture out perfectly.
One of the big things that I'm noticing here is that G2 their defense surrounding Valin and Icy is all about plant denial. And Sen are trying to find these timings to punish them as they go for the molly. You saw the little bank shot molly off the wall of lamps there. And immediately, Zeken's looking for the punish. He's trying to go aggressive in the backside. He knows he has the space. He's trying to catch the timing on Valin while he's thinking about spike denial. But he's missing it. And that to me, is how all of these A fights are going down. Can Sen get the jump on them when they've got other things in their mind?
Yeah, you have to say, Zeken losing that fight multiple times now to Valin in that exact position as well. Speaking to potentially how he's playing overall in this. And I also have to point out, every round that Sentinels has started in the G2 fashion, super slow, not taking control of anything, has actually led to G2 wins.
Well, here's an exec. Line up over the top, Trailblazer at least with the connection, but the Dizzy was not dealt with. Trent's still going to be repositioning, does have that safety at least. It's an anchoring smoke for him to play around. Both of them propped up. It's a wall that's been drawn, a line in the sand still, Zeken. Of course he's going to step over it. He's eager to draw blood.
Got his ult from that one as well.
He's cleared out most of it. Two players now going to be wrapping this one out through. There's the TP also coming out. Away! And reset of the aim just enough here. Thrash has to connect. Orbital strike to punish as well. Showstopper in the hands of Zeken. It's anarchy occurring into the server. Orbital strike somehow getting the kill. Zeken did not know which way to look. 2v3. Tumultuous here for Sentinels. Single kill could do it though. Potential trying to stay alive. Drop down Icy. So fast onto the line. Celsius now. It's the last one left. Bit of spam maybe, but that might be some false confidence. Potentially thinks that he got that one. Leaf gonna be sticking it. Bodyguarded all the way. And a round lead now. Just for G2.
Yeah, he can't see that the smoke is down while that wall is up either, so he doesn't actually know that they have protection to continue sticking in a situation like that.
I said that G2 not only needed to be able to win rounds for their economy, but they needed to be able to dodge ults coming out of Sen. They got so many online during this round. The plant got the Thrash as well. Showstopper found no value. Thrash couldn't be followed up on. John and Celsius also without their ults now. G2 just not only managed to dodge all of these ults, but put the round on the board in convincing fashion.
It almost feels like Sentinels doesn't know what to do when G2 doesn't respond after they take the site. There's such terrible trepidation in the way that they're approaching these post-plant situations, causing Zeken to be confused, tends to be confused. And I have to say, it's probably because of the new comp.
A little bit of a hesitancy, waiting for that next response out of G2, but hey, they'll never give it to you. They're always going to play disciplined. Try to group up, stretch the time to the limit, even if they're the ones who are trying to play for that retake here. This is a very large group of the G2. They're going for a flash. In through, getting that connection. Grabbing that, it's going to be sailing right over. They're going to be able to take this one in time. At a nightfall, it scatters. It's a good connection, at least onto the three. Dizzy over the top. You got to pick and choose your targets quite carefully. Right from the side, it's Zeken. He will respond in kind. Out wide, snappy, almost magnetic. It makes it look easy. Difficult spot that G2 are pushed into. Valin, not expecting it. Zeken, so damn active onto these angles. One more from the ace. Prowler spots it. Nade sent flying. Bit of a handshake in the air from it. See. Gotta make a go of this. Out through and White shuts him down. No ace in sight, yet still surely time has been bought. And off of that one, noise contact, sensor tripped up. 6-6 is where we stand.
Switching
An
sides.
even half for two teams that went back and forth the entire time. It felt like G2 had great reads at the beginning and got a really important couple towards the end. But Sen also with massive moments in this one as well. Zeken powers forward, showcasing what he's capable of doing.
Perfect Zeken satchel flash combination to get that Dizzy value. What a seesaw of a half.
Absolutely. Up and coming here for the second half of Bind. And immediately top of the scoreboard for both of these teams. It's the Duelist players, the Raze players going head to head. Icy currently with the advantage in that regard.
It's been such a good battle between those two, Zeken and Icy. I mean, you saw it at the beginning of the half. Icy, even on pistol, doing everything correctly. And Zeken struggling a little bit. But then at the end of the half as well, even in that last round, you see the satchels from Zekken, the spray downs. It's back to magic.
It feels like G2 are baiting B long control here to try to get TenZ to push out.
Throwing nets.
Does he have that discipline?
Just holding it, slightest of off angles. A lot of players to face him though. You know, G2, whenever they make a play, always going to be doing it with the numbers advantage.
Well, that wasn't a mistake from TenZ, but he just lost the 1v2.
And there's a fast play from Sentinels themselves. Nades again sailing past one another. Just trying to fight for this one. Control. It's not being given up entirely here to Sentinels. Still with that showers fight. Taken leave. One shot to the body. Brings him down, all weakened up here, but it's an open B site for the taking. G2 happy to capitalize.
They might have to triple TP. They don't have time anymore to actually rotate through spawn, but they'll go for it. And that gives so much room for G2 to get anywhere they want. And they have to take time to even clear this round. Unfortunately, Sentinels overcommitting through that TP.
They thought they had the read on what was going on, right? They thought it was bait over towards B long, finish A, and Valen adds an extra loop, an extra wrinkle.
Get him, wingman.
Trent just pulling the util out of them here. Sentinels really struggling, just trying to take the time and straight past that one with the Dizzy. There's a molly at their feet. G2 lighting them all up.
Attack side calling is going to be so fun to follow for both of these IGLs. Battling through Ascension, battling against various other teams all throughout this year in Tier 1. I feel like at the moment we are seeing peak Valen. Not in this match just yet, we haven't seen him, it's only been one round. But throughout Stage 2, throughout Shanghai, he's been calling some magnificent attack sides.
And playing fantastic too. This guy has been absolutely dominant.
He's 12-6 now.
Probably one of the best fragging IGLs we've had all year.
Exactly what this series is. Another part of the stakes though just being laid up on top of this one. There's no way Zekken's just getting out. I mean, defended.
That's crazy.
Leaf dropped. He was the one with a pistol. Celsius tucked up, close, just trying to play the anti-flash position, but the protocols in place here for G2 should be an easy take for that B site.
So one of the weird rounds actually, where they were on the 4-1 on the round after the pistol, the one player doesn't find the stack, dies, but they decide to commit into the stack anyway. They knew there were 3 players over towards B, they just thought brute force it, and they worked.
Go get him, buddy.
Be hoping to collect up any eco kills, generate a few of these ults. Bit far away from it, G2. Okay.
I'm sorry, there's something special about the way G2 is shooting today. They've been playing so well all year, but this is Sentinels we're talking about, and some of these I'm just like, okay, what?
If G2 are firing on the same level that SEN traditionally do, then I think G2's team play has looked a little better recently. I think Valen's calling has looked slightly better than John Cody's yesterday. We're talking a game of inches between these two squads, because they're both fantastic.
Now, this is the first time we really get to see that tested super hard. Sentinels didn't get the chance in Stage 1 in playoffs, where G2 gained their form. So to see it actually play out and validate some of the feelings in the community. It's a big hunt from Saucy. But G2 plays so slow that it's not really going to mean much down the line.
Gonna quickly take up control of showers though.
Okay.
Not as much pace as you're going to see out of G2, outside of when they just go for those full execs.
Because we've got a little bit of a slower round here, take a look at John Cody's setup. He's got a stun here for them to fight over B long. And he's also got the stun if anyone makes a non-silent drop out of hookah. So their deadlock can be very good in these kind of spots over towards B on bind.
And this is the portion of time right now where Sentinels can take massive advantage of the information they're gathering. Saucy just prowlered into showers. You saw G2 have one of these types of rounds where they dog down B long, saw nothing, and flanked really fast. But Sentinels not doing anything with that information.
Well, he's spawning too much here. Trailblazer needs to be broken, grabbing it in response to it, but they're being squeezed. Barrier mesh, hello, that makes things very damn awkward. Straight in through, onto the side as well. They are just overwhelming it. Brute force. Name of the game here for G2, still with a plan online. And the reinforcements of Sentinels.
Thanks, Wings.
Just lacking that timing for now. Now grouped up and catching this one still. Bullets to the side, traded. I see there, making sure to shut down Zekken. 2v3 still for Sentinels, and they do have a slight weapon advantage, but only slight. Still getting a bit of a move on and a run-up. Trent is happy to just play the close quarters angle.
What a bonus round for G2 to get online. The game plan worked for Sen. I pointed out the deadlock setup. Both of the stuns ended up going off. The stun for the people out hookah, that ended up being rewarded. The stun towards B-Long, they didn't have enough people there to be able to capitalize. It goes back to what Marla was saying. They kind of missed the window to get the rotate off. Zekken was booking his way over towards B, but he was too slow. They had made that rotation off the back of the inflammation. With 3 people on site, they could have held that. But G2 bulldozed their way through B-Long.
And those are the positions that you...
Deadlock isn't getting value over towards B, even when both stuns are connecting and everything looks good. There's more fundamental issues, perhaps, that need to be addressed before it can be considered a phenomenal map to rely on and lean on in big games.
Triple swing instantly pushes Sassy off. And look at this, the high-low that you're... The sort of stuff you were talking about on defense. And Sassy never really re-peeks this. He has the 2 prowlers, probably won't use them on the eco.
This is gross. I mean, you have a triple high-low setup with someone holding for the jump peak as well. Look at the crosshair placement.
Yeah.
Sassy,
Looking like Ocean's 11 out there, man.
there's no way. No way he can peek into that.
There's just no chance. And this is standard stuff, really, from G2.
And I also think that Sassy isn't the intended target here. It's an anti based on how aggressively TenZ likes to play in showers on the defense side. Now, TenZ has actually been quite disciplined. He did get caught out on the pistol round, but it wasn't because he overstepped himself. G2 eventually had to force the fight, as they're having to do now. Sen are not giving them free ones.
They're looking to try and send this one up straight
Wow.
to A. That's a late flank occurring.
Grenade!
Too sure the point of that one is still with the nade. Teleport to the nade, TP, yep, straight back and over.
Yeah, but they didn't actually leave.
30
Through
seconds
into B,
left.
they didn't leave themselves. Shunkyutudo, a bit of a scramble from him. Offloading this utility, seeking some sort of advantage into the fight as well. Up and over, that was accidental.
Second opted.
Right through him, and yeah, Rocket does find that value. Plant's still down though, that was not pushed back. Leaf. He's going to be able to play this one into the post. Him and Jonah P drops down the orb just for him to reposition. He's out and away. Tiniest of margins, it drops down.
That's the gun.
Still wingman onto the defuse as well. Needs to be denied. Mosh pit into the corner. Where do you stand? There's nowhere. Just tickling onto the toes as well. Gives TenZ the easy one. Jonah P now. 1v2. Damage done. We can target. TenZ got a rifle. 1v1 still. No tap, no forcing of the issue. Dizzy has to be hit. Jonah P. Complete control. The rifle aim. Was wrangling control of it.
That was Sentinel's way back into this game. They were offered an opportunity just then to have a round that upset everything, all of the expectations. A weird pivot, and I mean, Icy just falls straight into their lap there. But they couldn't quite get it done in the 1v1.
One enemy remaining.
So now a 4-round deficit for Sen that they've got to grind back through. Can't be letting opportunities like that slip, I think, in spots like this.
Was an eco, and they did use an ult, but still, the cycle favors them. They've got the Thrash, they've got the orbital strike from Zelsis.
Sliders of Jiggles might see the punish. There is a lot of G2 players all grouped up on the other side of this. Just sees it, signs of life. It's another grab there. Worried about it, Trent's gonna cover.
He actually pushed his teammate into an angle where Trent could have died there if there was another Sentinels player.
The Deadlock utility's buying time for Zekken to rotate, but G2 have not committed off the back of this. If they dodge this Prowler, they've got a great timing to end A.
You talked about mid-rounding so much. Here it is on display again. How many times have we seen a late pivot?
Yeah, Valorant's just working him into a pretzel right now with a lot of this calling because there's no bodies to even watch this one. Yep, no Thrash going to be committed either. Let's try and get themselves in. Will be having that one for the post plan. That's even if they can get themselves into it. Orbital strike. Backing away, wards them. At least for now, G2 won't be able to get that plant down. And Leaf, he's going walks about. At least still going to be spotted here. Trent with another tap. Trying to force this one. Still with that Deadlock util. It's up and away, but the space and the side is given. Oh, coverage! Trying to catch that one. Bullet to the back of the head, not quite there, Valen. making sure that his sight was cleanly set onto it. Now the Thrash plant again being pushed back and away. It is chaos into the mix. Thrash of his own, right around to the side as a detainment, and we're seeing every single possibility. G2, they've just dominated it. Plant, shut down, time is of the essence.
They can't get it past this.
Celtics just needs to stay alive. Swarmed everyone after him. It's barely there, but G2, they finagle it.
That was so close.
How in the world?
Zelsis, almost the boy who lived in backside. He had everything to do in that situation. Trying to get rid of the hordes of players coming towards him. Now, apart from that, though, G2 played a masterful round.
Yeah.
Valen's mid-rounding is perfect to get them from site to site. Trent tapped without using Wingman on A so that it wouldn't die to the orbital strike. He knew that he was baiting that ult out, so he would still have Wingman later. In the end, Leaf had to be Wingman.
These rounds coming out of timeouts are oftentimes where G2 get the fastest. It's not looking like it on the minimap just yet, but Sentinels has to be aware of that sort of thing. You've got a double stack for them on Shark to maybe fight off a lurker.
This haunt, pretty common. When you want to go to try to find a kill through that smoke towards the bottom of B long, nobody steps into it. Against a team like G2, that's only really going to happen if they were set up for a fast B hit, so that might have been a hard read from Sen. G2 loving to do those fast hits out of the tag timeouts.
You gotta be careful. John QT's angle is actually really far back, not fully protecting Zekin on top of Truck.
Yeah, pretty far away from any likelihood of that engagement. You are right. It's a risk there with that angle. Needs to be watched for. Down to the minute. Okay.
And that's already calling Zekin off. Meanwhile, there's still two players here. Good thing that John has that wall, though.
Now you're going to see the scurrying away these players. I mean, Sentinels just completely giving this one up. This is still Showers being held by Valen the entire time.
He's planning to wait out this wall and then hit. It's going to be so low the time.
Yep, just breaking it down now, though. Good to see if they can take this one forwards, making sure they deal all the appropriate utility. Plant goes down, and there was nobody onto the side from Sen to even deny it still. Ults have to be used. There's a showstopper around to the side. An adjustment there. Snaps it to the floor. Icy bringing down second. G2 looking primed and ready. Lighting up the feed. It's up to 12 for G2, and all they need is the one round.
And once again, the mid-rounding phenomenal from G2 throughout that entire thing. And Valen, like you mentioned, just waiting out. That wall that gives John QT a false sense of confidence that it's not going to be towards this site. He falls all the way off and has no way to actually use his annihilation. And that could have been crucial. You mentioned the time was running down there for G2. He could have potentially denied the plan or at least allowed some time for his teammates to get in positions.
We were talking about a fast play coming out of the attack timeout. Looks like G2 delayed it by 1.
Looking like they might want to try and go for this one here, at least to punish onto this B long line. Orbs picked up by Zelsis. He's still sticking around.
Oh, for sure pushing through this.
Yeah, deep showers lurk occurring as well. This should be giving a bit of an indicator here for Sentinels.
G2 know that there's a stun behind this smoke. It's been the setup in a number of situations. They ran into it one time, weren't punished though.
And look at this, finally, Sentinels taking some advantage of the slowness of G2. They've got a lot of info, but Zelsis in trouble.
He's got to be worried. Bullets are firing through. Zelsis. He's in the danger zone!
Excuse me?
Absolutely absurd stuff. Jonah P just drops him, and with that, first kill going away. Barry Mesh dropped down. Sentinels the only consolation. This fast like occurring. They're going to be rapid through with it. Caesar's dropped down. Annihilation to buy them a little bit more time. Nightfall
flank
follows through. It's all concatenated. Flank is denied. Damage is done to all of them, but it has to be this way through second at least. Dropping Jonah P, wading through the murky depths there. The smoke not covering it. John QT just none the wiser. Only 2 to stand from Sentinels here. And this is the map. G2. Complete control. Second having to get a marathon sprint on, even just to regroup. Time taken away with a pit drop down. There is no chance at this point. It has to be a bit of luck on the side of these Sen players. They want to stay in this map. Perfect in terms of discipline. G2 deny any chance of that.
And perfect as well in terms of that. Actually, we're running at them on the defense side. G2 are not going to be going for that, though we may see a bit of an early fight over here towards B. And if you let Sen get into post plans, those sonic sensors can be so tough to deal with. Not online for John in this pistol, though.
All contact until it's not here with the Prowler. Taking the brunt of it. 2 bullets exchanged.
This is a popular setup that we've seen, I mean, 100 Thieves use as well. Tucking the Killjoy into the corner there, making it feel like it's only Jonah P on the B site. Hoping that you get a freebie.
There's something weird, though, with Sentinels here. They just threw out that Prowler, they poked that front B, but they didn't get any value out of G2. They didn't break any mollies, any turrets, anything there.
Still going to be having that passive map control. As long as the kit is active, and here's emphasis being placed here by Sentinels. Looks like they want to try and pivot this potentially over towards the A side, with the door opened up wide. Horn, it's just on the G2 side of things here. Paranoia flooding through, nothing to cover this one onto that high ground position. G2, the firing line to approach them as well. Anybody who just tries to skip their way through already with that casualty. Zekin going down, now John QT sticking the plan. Paranoia soups its way past, already G2 getting some bodies now onto the side. Looking to try and take this one a bit more fast. Again with the approach, doubled up, still with that discipline. Nothing missing in terms of the pieces. A tap already from Valin, looking for that first wave of util. Everyone pre-aiming up to the skies. Sliders and gaps into the smokes as well, and the tiniest of differences might make all the difference here for G2. Still doubled up, tripled up, trying to find these. Fast flank, round from the back, Tens is trying to deliver it. Again, low on HP though, 5 just to work with. He's got a contestant tangle with all of Icy.
We haven't seen Tens have those big moments in this match yet. Was struggling early on, lost a 1v1 really importantly to Jonah P earlier, and in this round seems to have missed the timing on the smoke too. There were massive casualties early on here. This heaven area just not smoked, came in really, really late. Whether that's on him or whether that's on the rest of SEN going too early, a mistake either way. The G2 take a pistol round.
And you mentioned Tens in particular, but I think everybody on Sentinels right now feels like they're playing with a little bit of fear. And I have to say, it's because G2 are hitting, man. Jonah P, Icy, these two guys are just making everything so scary when you go around any corner.
You got a hero build these guys. Jonah P onto this B side as well. This guy's a menace. Spotted up, tagged up there by the Horn, but no punishment inside, not from the Sentinels side of things. Leaf as well, looking to contain, sees that his player's committing with the alarm bot, taking the brunt of that.
SEN had a very clear micro objective when it came to bind. They were trying to load ult orbs into Tens so that they had the thrash.
What are these smokes, these gap smokes that G2 are throwing out? They did in the last round too, on the post plant.
And just leaving these openings here, but G2 with the right read of things. Not being dissuaded. I mean, Icy's on the other side of the map, just locking down the entire A avenue. So they know this is going to be landing towards B or C. They've got the read, indicators there. Backup arrives. Flawless here. Nobody falling here for G2. It's going to be a real healthy bonus round heading into the next.
And they've had such success on the pistols, but also in that second half of Bind, the bonus as well. These sorts of rounds really continue the momentum like crazy for G2.
When we've seen how good Valent's attack side calling is, I think SEN have got to be putting up big results in this half. So pressure's on early. Can't be losing this round.
It's got to start here.
And they're looking for an early fight, Sentinels is, but they're not going to get it. G2 are playing quite passive. They're going to open up the door. Valent might be under trouble because of that door open.
Just spotted Zekin, there's no way.
I mean, he's challenging.
Commits right past, he wants a challenge, he'll take it. Straight up, space gain and granted. Trent now with a job to try and drop this one, hold it back as well. Sees, plants it, deep onto the corner. Will prevent them from really trying to push it back and out, but a util supplementary in nature. It's perfect there from Sentinels. Tens with the flash, and Celsius can hear all the footsteps. Final player, Icy, notified, smoked off. Very little in terms of the chances they're really even giving him. Flawless right back.
There's a gentleman's agreement to leave a gap in every smoke. Both teams doing it there. I said that SEN needed that round, and they did it immaculately, flawlessly. No problems whatsoever, and Zekin being very opportunistic with his timing, realizing that Valent had made a small mistake there, or at least a gap that could have been exploited if Zekin hit the shot. And he's always confident.
And I was talking about fear there, Zekken having none of it. A big fight here potentially, Brent.
Oh yeah, you'll see a skirmish popping off, aren't you? Grab net, that's a connection.
Oh, the
Sees
nade!
it, and the nade!
He's dead!
Zekken! Oh! Barely surviving, still annihilation was committed and used as well.
They're trying to break him out, but he's
even
dead.
Valorant, yeah, I mean, there's no safety there, is there? Absolutely no.
Oh my God!
Whoa! What happened there?
Why did he survive?
They shot him out at the last second.
That one you just don't expect.
What is Jonah up to here?
Deep push up.
Doesn't get seen.
What? He's getting away with it. Murder in action, still wants to hold his ground, but eventually has to concede up that space. Now towards C Mal now. Any sort of hesitancy that might just be stepping into Sentinel's place. Still going to be farming up that orb though. Zekken now, one away from the showstopper. Leaf just waiting, Odin in hand, Trent re-clearing. Great information for G2 to work off, even with the player down situation. They gotta know this one is gonna be landing and ending over towards C. Here's the util, waves of it now. Emanating out, not slowing down as Boombot and a Prowler, but still got to contest and tangle with this guy, Leaf. Locking it down to Astral. Bang! That rifle aim is sharp from TenZ.
Big round.
Real precise. Trent off to the side, might be able to get a cheeky one just barely there, but now alerted to his position.
Where are you?
Still got 2 Prowlers to get through this.
It's a lot to ask for. Might be able to follow it, maybe a bit of luck in question.
8 bullets.
8 bullets. It's all been spent. You need quite a lot to try and do the job here. 4. Not much left. Doubled up discipline. Sentinels. There's an answer back. 2-2 now being that round scoreline.
And there's the round you need to see from TenZ. That's the impact.
You were just talking about it. And I think this moment right here, I think this is on purpose from G2. Trying to shoot it out late. So there's just a spy on the enemy team just ending up in their camp, but still staying aware from it.
These are 2 really important rounds for Sentinels. Not only did they stop the momentum, but now they've actually broken G2's economy. And they can start a bit of a snowball of their own.
I think Sentinels actually broke it as well in the last round to put the ult orb into Zekken. I think we missed that. That was Sentinels shooting it to break it so that the kill wouldn't be granted to John QT. Besides the point now, though, that's a hail of lead. You're not surviving. They already know. Hello. Okay, there we go.
That's the second round, though, that Jonah P's really pushed up over towards C. You know, while there's action happening on the other side of the map, Jonah in the previous got himself pushed up right next to a cyber cage and tried to play underneath the camp.
I know exactly where you are.
That's unusual for G2. They don't normally push out and try to create solo situations for their players. A read on how SEN are going to play the map, perhaps, but it hasn't really worked just yet.
And around the Rosies. Nobody onto the B side to contest this one. Nade's going to sail past, grab net, barrier mesh, all going to be enveloping. Nobody can really press past this one. Still, sets us in the face of John QT. Doesn't matter. Trying to hold it. So, okay, Odin spam away. Hey, well, hold on. Paranoia. Maybe getting a bit overzealous there. Still icy. Hello, with the nade. What? The Sheriff. He's earned himself another one. Oh, here. Rocket. Denied. TenZ plucks him out of the sky. Has to come back. And 4th we go. G2 swinging out. Only down to the 1 second. He's going to have to pull off a miracle. Satchel pushing her back and away. Another tap as well. Into the smoke. Tracers. Point and click. Adventure game. G2 pulling it from the brink.
Next time we'll use
That is ridiculous, man.
Fair.
I mean, an eco round after what Sentinels just did in the last as well. The must-win round for them, it felt like. And all of a sudden, G2 just crushed that momentum.
If you show me that round without any player labels and ask me to identify the rays on the defense side, I'm thinking...
I would say Sentinels.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Zekken. The utility usage is amazing from Icy in this round. Using his blast pack to juggle the player away and then hits a crisp shot. Nade kill as well. This guy's fired up.
5-3 right now. He was near the top for his team in the last map as well. I mean, Icy's a player where talk about him. A lot of players are talking about, you know, well, maybe G2 should have picked up a better firepower upgrade, but he's turning up against some of the star players in Americas.
Zekken is so weak. It's difficult to push away an Odin player. They tap the door. Trent's going to realize that they haven't come in.
Yeah, the full retreat though, and given how aggressive Jonah P has played in the past on that C mound, they're going to have to take some time and some util rather than going out dry, and that's going to give a lot of info and time to G2 to make an informed decision.
G2 are also worried, though, that somebody's pushed upstairs. You can see them re-clearing it now. That's going to take time to allow Sentinels potentially to exec into C.
Could be disastrous, though, these nanoswarms that have been laid down for the C hit.
And TenZ being all the way out here is not that big of a deal. He can always join the fight with his ult.
Sentinels just trying to sniff out where a lot of this setup is again. ADS'd up, I'm assuming, but Icy just drops 10, sending him straight back to the spectator seat. Jonah P, Molly was used a little bit prior there, 20 seconds left now. The util's going to be flying through and away. There's a cage with the slightest gap in as well. The wall opened up. Want to send their way over towards this B side, but again, nobody was watching their back, so only 11 seconds. Got to stick this plan. Barrier mesh. Finds them a lifeline, but still, this is a lot of players committed up. Close quarters in terms of the action and the fight. It's a paranoia connection onto the 2. Disrupts that high-low setup. Sentinels won't be getting away with that one. Need to clear up into heaven. G2 still with a massive player advantage. Nightfall. They want to take this one. No crumbs. And they're still going to be just dominating every single position.
The way in which G2 come back in on the retake, that's the team play aspect there. You see them all swarming together, high-low setup, swinging from multiple aspects. But also what we're getting in this match is the individualism as Icy holds that tiny crack angle and picks off TenZ, finding his moments again in the round. Look at this. I mean, that's a great shot. I know that TenZ is walking into that one a little slowly, but it's still really clean. And just an example, another one, of how Icy seems to be particularly on point today.
For that attack side themselves here, Sentinels. Unsteady ground beneath them, but we'll see if they can find a way forwards. Did choose to invest, at least into this one, to grab that in an aid. Clears off that early angle.
Could have been dangerous. Leaf likes to play aggressive there.
Oh, this might be a little late here from Jonah P. He might not get out.
Just full sending it. Okay, Pit to just try and cover it. Is one! He fires right back! Still scared of that threat. The approach as well from all of these players. Horn has to be dealt with. It is broken. Jonah P still stands his ground, holds it down, and there's so many layers to the G2 protocols, man.
They can't get in, and everybody's here now. If they push in, they're dead.
Be prime time for the pivot.
That's a great kill.
Onto Leaf.
No lockdown now available, so retake potential plummets for G2.
The util going down line as well. No alarm bot through B. Fallon's going to have to pick up that area. Icy as well. Forced to lock this down for his team. TP committed. That's TenZ. It's right behind him, actually. Just takes tree control. Icy. A lot's going to be asked of him, and he will deliver. Paranoia glides through. The prediction is elite.
Icy is just different today.
Who is this guy?
I have the spike.
If this is the level of player that they're going to have moving into playoffs, potentially moving into champs, how do you stop G2?
Everything going right for them. And the firepower was always a question mark, but now you cannot question it. It's forced TenZ into this 1v3. Lurked as well.
They're playing so solid, too. Look at the setup inside the stairs. Yeah. Now they know.
So patient,
10 seconds
waiting it out. Time against them. They see the tether, the trail, points it directly to TenZ. There will be no escape from that. Spammed in his direction. G2. Another round on the board for them.
It just looks immaculate. Icy is in such a precarious spot there. He even misses the timing to go for his first peek. He tucks himself into a corner. He knows the players are coming. And he feels like he's got one shot to swing out, to land ahead, before TenZ opens the door behind him. He gets himself in a tough spot, dodges shots from Sassy, and rattles off 2 with a spray transfer, and then blind over the 3rd.
I mean, that's a big-time play for a rookie. Absolutely insane.
Feeling it. It's an all turn. SEN are going to be left scrambling, looking for these answers. Starts with that mound control out towards C as well. They've been giving that one quite freely. G2 though are perfectly happy, I think, to just try and flip this one in. Zelta's getting caught in the moment. Spamming down a Prowler, 3-player stack over towards A. There is weaknesses here for G2, just holding down onto the C site.
Especially when the Annihilation is on the other side. John could fire that off and capture Jonah P or Leaf if they're not very careful about it.
This is preemptive from Leaf, expecting some sort of initiation. As soon as he hears anything.
You know what's interesting too? There are ways to bounce the Annihilation into Waterfall to catch Killjoy players like that. I'm wondering if Sentinels is as prepared as you would expect for them playing this comp for the second time.
Players in Tier 2 are getting super nerdy with the Annihilation stuff. But for John, he's got so much more on his plate as well to think about from an IGL's perspective. Maybe he just hasn't had time to put in the work.
There's the lockdown.
They're so ready for this, man. Already with the setup as well. Nanoswarm's not clear from Prior. How do you deal with this? It's 24 seconds on the clock.
They don't have time to get back into this. They just don't.
Entertainment. He has to drop it. I mean, he was going to be holding on to it. A hostage at a time now, and you can get the reinforcements in. G2 flooding back in with the body. Out through the back as well. And it's perfection in motion. Showstopper. Very pretty finish to the round because it's all done and over. G2, we're going to be up to that 6. This is just masterful calling.
It's immaculate from G2, but they're making Sentinels look amateurish out there. 14 seconds left, you're running back out of Mound. No opportunity to pivot, didn't want to go towards B. Celsius is having to drop Spike so that there's even any chance left. Valen's calling, but more so even just the defensive pre-prepped protocols from G2, making this attempt on the attack side from Sen look very poor.
And you have to also think about Zekin. I mean, how many first deaths has he had so far? To moments like that, just dying to the molly. Normally, John QT is never calling in that situation. Zekin's there to push in.
Brute force, perhaps the answer.
Yeah, they want to send it out over towards Leaf again. Nanoswarm's not really too much of a problem. Friendly fire just from the grab there. Not going to be too worried about it, though. They do have an open sight. Best chance the Sentinels have had in quite some time. Unfortunately, don't have the weaponry. That explains the eagerness. Second, he's going to be stepping up to this one. Stun. Doesn't have to worry about it as much. This is real aggression. Trying to get proactive now, at least with this hold into the post. Molly rebounds. Trip dealt with at least, but still with a massive disadvantage. Haunt in their face. Fades out the first shot. Annihilation through and over. But there should be no danger. Surely you got to imagine it clear every single possibility still to stand. Sentinels from the brink. And it's only Icy. Just like that, switches around, complete 180 through the wall.
Sen decided to just send it into C. They overwhelmed what G2 were doing on that site. I think primarily because G2 weren't expecting the pace to come from them.
Look at this shot.
That's intense. That's pretty, that's pretty good.
And then those are the types of plays that are keeping them competitive in this game, despite what feels like an absolutely dominant half from G2.
I think you need a bit more than that. The Sentinels as well, disrupting retake protocols of G2, just trying to get in their faces.
And I have to, if I'm John QT, this is the one thing that's working. I'm trying to push the issue on this C site with the pace as well.
Difficulty though, I mean, G2 are not willing to give up any A rubble control. Sen are always constantly trying to feign like they could be taking this with players. They're not budging. It's given incredible mid-round information for G2 to work off.
I also think that if Sen ran that same C exec, but Jonah P was anchoring Waterfall, I think Jonah kills Zekin. So I'm not sure the same result is going to happen here.
Volley down, Prowler. This is going to be connecting here with the C's on top of it. Though. Finally, striking back here. First kill for him. Ult is online, available in the back pocket.
Oh, they used the deep wall into Waterfall, but Leaf is ahead of it.
Spots out onto Valen, forces out this paranoia again. The time is going to be ticking. The fuse battered away into the corner as well. Could just send it with a pre-aim and a fire. Doesn't expect Leaf. It's not cleared. He's the one who's finding all of the marks. A lot of space given up. Sentinels just willing now to play this one entirely off-site. Is there ready, at least for the Mound spam. Bullets going to be raining down upon them, but do they have anything to stop this one? Nade as well follows through. I see he's got one at least with the connection, pushing through. It's perfection again. G2, can you praise this team more?
Even Valen's position on top of the ledge to dodge more of the spam is an excellent protocol that teams have started developing. The nade too from Icy, perfectly timed to push people away on Mound. The first one's a tap, not a real stick. Every layer of it is lovely. And there are cracks in what SEN are doing. Yes, that Prowler caught onto Jonah P, and that made a big difference in taking him out. But not clearing Leaf in that spot. That should be part of your attacking system.
They should have run into that in scrims already.
Yes, when you throw the barrier mesh over.
Coming into this league, our best performing Ascension team out of
There.
absolutely all of them in all 4 regions.
The only one with a chance to go to champions out of any of those promoted tier 2 teams, just exemplars of the system.
And G2, I don't know what this read is, straight out of timeout again, just trying to punish and disrupt Sentinels this time. Very heavy committal over towards the A rubble fight once more. Door opens up, that's a Nightfall. Will force these G2 players to at least scatter. Trent is going to be worrying and fearful, at least for his life. And Sentinels are making this feel like all that pressure coming towards A. Door's going to be broken up. No one expecting that wraparound trade, at least in sight. It does make it nice and even, 4 versus 4. But still that uncertainty.
TenZ used this paranoia in desperation, and now they don't have it to actually pounce on the site anymore.
And with Sassy gone, they're lacking all initiation tools.
Slightest of pause being called, but Sentinels want to send this one forwards, flying. Jonah P, too much to really deal with. Overwhelmed. Out onto the side, there was backup there in the form of Leaf, but wasn't long for this world. TP cancel, not too sure. All the way over towards C, didn't like what they saw, at least from that neural theft.
Sentinels have a combined 69 health. I mean, almost nothing to work with.
And that creates openings, at least TenZ is going to be hearing this one. A couple of footsteps. Gives him an indicator. He has to be the one to provide them the win.
He might have missed the timing. He might have given it a little too long. No.
Looking away and around. Spots the second one. Backs away. Plays his life. Intelligence there. At least on show. Fast through and away. I see still. Bit of that health advantage, but too many obstacles. Surely. Yes, indeed.
Such thin margins for SEN to be able to get through there. But a great play from TenZ, tucking himself up into heaven, allowed him to get some freer kills, where if he'd just taken them head-to-head and relied on his aim instead of his brain, the health pool was not there.
29 HP combined in all of them.
At the end of the round, yeah.
And also credit to Valen on that initial pivot. He's already 2 steps ahead of it. Sees that wall come out from the deadlock of Sentinels and decides, okay, I've got my Viper wall up, I can peek this safely.
Hello, G2. Okay. Skip right past it, grab net. Not going to be a trouble. Sentinels are going to be hearing that, though. It's a lot of util. Gives them a good indicator.
Sentinel's entry player has a judge in the final round of the half.
See if Second is able to get that value. Prowler and Boombot straight down, same burst. Util being used. TP in through the back. It's going to be Valen. Treeing up back with the rest of the team now, out through B as well. Spotting it again. Second does not have the weapon for the job here. Has to avoid most of these fights coming his way. Space garnered though. Lurks being caught. Jonah P deals with Celsius, locked down. Any sort of plans to deal with this, all being overlaid. Overlap now. These were the Nightfall. Sentinels crest away, knives are out. TenZ is catching them. And as well, hearing it, Icy. Sky might be the difference maker. Annihilation, not sure if that's a miss or what, but Leaf now onto the defuse, sticking, and it needs to be presence from Sentinels. They can't just give this one up. Bodies matching him. Leaf has to get off of it. Leaf demolishes it.
Again, Icy plays so well in that situation, and the Nightfall hits everybody on Sentinels, so they don't even hear the defuse coming through from Leaf. They don't know what the heck is going on with Icy. How is he playing a Mound in that situation? He backs all the way up for that situation. It's beautiful.
I will say, though, John gets a bit unlucky that his Annihilation missed everybody that was over towards that defuse. And the last few rounds have been a bit closer from SEN. It looked like G2 were just going to run away with things by the scoreline they have. But SEN are at least playing a better game and pushing them to the limit.
There's a lot on the line in this upcoming pistol round, of course, as well for Sentinel. It's an 8-4 finish. The job for us there. Yeah, I mean, a SEN win would lock them in for champs, but they are far away from that. 8-4 currently where they're sitting. Pistol round, so damn important. But for G2, it's a team that they've always just been quite unassuming, I suppose one could say. But the results are anything but that. I mean, they have just been up there since their ascendancy.
And to set the state of the map a little bit as well, that was a phenomenal half from G2 on the defense. And what we saw in Bind was a phenomenal attack side, so we expect it to continue here. It's going to take a lot for Sentinels to get back into this against what was America's best at Shanghai.
Most of the G2 series wins have had one map where they struggle, where they get blown out, actually. They've been in control of this match the whole time.
Yeah, nothing slipped so far. Cam contact, seeing it, plenty of bodies. He's not alerted himself, but he spotted
It's
eventually here. The Paranoia gliding through, Prowler as well. These trips. It's G2 to want nothing to do with it. Pump fake being called
There's
here.
nobody here.
Seconds.
Yep, full rotation away. Sentinels not leaving anybody's onto the site, at least not to contain. G2 are going to be able to get that free plant off. Trent now into it.
Spike planted.
The timing.
He's missed it. Leaf's just been inserted as well. This guy is going to be delivering that backstab. It might just be fatal. Trent as well being pushed and pressed away here. We're still going to grab that. Look down into the corner. Celsius just peeking, taking these fights at just the right timing. It's opportunities presented now to Sentinels, but they have to try and wrap this one up, and they are being picked apart just from the side, but it's only Jonah P left to remain, and he can't land the finish.
Leaf gave his hand away there, I think, a little bit too early. I believe it was Tens who threw the paranoia into the rest of the team and spotted him. Took a shot from behind and realized that that backstab was happening. And from then, Sen had the utility advantage. C's being thrown out, this grav net as well, paranoia, just so many things to make life difficult for G2 on site.
I mean, that was the first pistol for Sentinels that they've won so far in the series. Definitely gets Kaplan hyped in the back.
Get the lifeline back. I mean, that is literally what it is.
This season it could catch.
Just a bit of a bait and switch. Actually, TP pass.
Oh,
That's actually committed
he's
by
above
Malin.
him. What?
Oh, he's right to the side. Classic in his hands. Hello. Unawareness. What is going on here?
I'm baffled that Tens didn't get that comm from his teammate. It was right underneath him, looked like a free kill. How is Valen the one that survives?
No
How is
way.
he continuing to get value?
There's just no chance. The weapons are being handed over. The map is in disarray in terms of the defense. The Sentinels, I mean, Trent has lurked his way all the way into the C site.
Past double Sentinel utility. The trips weren't set up to catch him, and no usage of the cam. Only just now, but it's not going to realize that Trent's in such a deep position.
And somehow, actually, Leaf has jumped over both those trips.
Disaster, man. Absolute disaster here for Sentinels. Full elation after winning the pistol. Tucking down. They can't even get the kill on the Trent.
That's great movement, though.
Backing away, surely.
What are you saving here?
You're in a 2v5.
Surely.
What do you do in this spot?
Backing away, saving a gun. They don't want to keep the sting in the hands of Celsius. He's going to look for at least a couple of kills here, but they're saving the Bulldog.
You're not even getting super thrilled with damage done here for Celsius, right? The Cypher ult on defense.
Economy's still going to be flourishing here for G2. And it's a round win nevertheless as well. I mean, okay. Almost there with the ace.
I mean, that would have just been ridiculous.
Even the ace would have been the saddest ace that this Sen-favoring crowd has ever seen, because it's just a silver line into a dark rain cloud. G2 had no rights to win this. How are these pistol shots coming through?
There's just no way.
Tens did flick around for a moment there. It sounds like the call was late, or his reaction to it was.
Yeah.
But it's game over at that point. Valen finished the first half with 3 kills, and he's already had 2.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, when it rains, it pours. This is the second time they get thrifty. That's
Somewhat a bit of a hard read here. I mean, the C's, no connection, TP up top. They still want to fight this one. The Heat wasn't, or at least the Horns, I should say, not accounted for.
I like that. Nice set play. It doesn't actually get the value, but you can see that Sentinels have been cooking.
And has forced out some util, at least from G2, to respond, take back control. While all this is going on, though, Jonah P
Placing swarm grenade.
has been walking through rain over towards A as well. Always giving these pivot options, G2. Doesn't matter into the mid-round, they've always got backup plans.
yeah, but that big trade of util at the beginning of this round is going to favor G2 with the amount of money and util that they actually have in this one. Surprisingly, actually, you still have a lot from Sentinels on this eco.
Sentinels just forced to stack up here. Pray that they walk back into the C site. A lot to be asked for from Zelsis. He's sitting pretty anchoring, but there's a storm coming here. Camely spotting the one, grab net, has to fall over the kill, there's no chance, man. Jonah P just spamming away. There is that return of the fire. Damage being done as well, has slowed
left.
this push to a crawl, but G2 now finally committing to it, but they hear the jump on Tent. Accounting for that one, there's a flank. It's finally going to be falling, and speaking of falling, G2 just struggling to really get a handle onto this side. It's a flood attempt. Valin doing the most right now. Touch to the corner, the spam and the damage. Icy, he's left alone to do it all. 21 health, they just spot the body and jumping around. Classic will do it.
The perfect response there from Sentinels. They look down and out, but with only a Bulldog, a Sheriff, a couple of classics to work with,
Make it fair.
they managed to pick apart G2.
Spike planted.
And the man to close it out too with the classic. Saucy finding some value too. Absolutely right. This response. And that's finally going to get Zelsis back into this game as well. He was missing in terms of providing that energy after what was a series of very unfortunate tech pauses for
Stay
him.
focused.
It was missing, yeah, the wind was out of the sails. He's one of those players that props up this team as well when they're at that lowest point of moments here. Sentinels, again, not shying away. It's a skirmish that they want to take over towards A, at least setting up Tens into that forward approach. Again, gives them that information, but G2 are just contacted straight up past this one. There's the punish. He's there with the Odin spam.
I like that. It's right
them
as
down.
G2 were about to take the timing to re-clear rubble behind the Viper wall. It goes up, Odin spam comes out. And leaving Tens posted over towards rubble. I know he had that weird situation at the beginning of a round earlier, but generally speaking, Tens has been on fire this map. And compared to his performance on Bind, I would feel very comfortable leaving him posted. And now you're going into Cypher deadlock.
Only time we saw this was when they got over it before an engagement happened. This time, you're going to have one.
This double setup is going to be a nightmare. TP forwards, that catches Valin. It's a trip intentional. Destroys any player that TP's through. Ground net. It's all being followed through.
Flawless.
Nasty stuff there by Sentinels. Flawless in nature.
And we've been praising the beauty of the G2 plays, but there's one for Sentinels as
Over
well.
there. No charges.
A perfect picture painted for the players of Sentinels. That grab net, the kill trip, everything looking marvelous.
One of the biggest reasons that this composition's good is because on the defense side as well, stack the Cypher deadlock utility on one side of the map, stack 3 players on the other. Which one's the strong side, which one's the weak side? You don't really want to go into either.
G2 struggling here to even get that foothold. Love to have layers and backup plans just in case the initial one fails, but they're not even able to even get over the line over towards A rubble.
Brent, you talk a lot about the pace of G2 on attack sides. The last couple of rounds have felt like they've been in the mud early on in these rounds consistently.
Jonah commits his Viper orb there just to try to threaten across, make it more difficult. Keep Tens and Zekken guessing for information over towards A.
Placing swarm grenade.
But those are nasty
Swarm
players to
grenade
get through,
out.
especially because the final kill in the previous round was given over to Zekken so that he got Showstopper online. So not only are you having to get through the young
them down.
superstar duo of Sentinels, but one of them has a rocket launcher.
Just the one sign of that Prowler. Sentinel scurrying back
Dropping
away
spike.
from that A hold, giving it up now, still with a double setup, but a nade clears most of this one.
Face your
Nothing to really obstruct. Satchel's through. On top of all of it, Valin with a TP. Any sort of punishment, it's not quite
30
there.
seconds
Sentinel's going to have to play this one, but a retake and spam from Zelsis. Again, high ground position. Line of fire. Straight down to him. They want to fight this one aggressively. G2 straight up through into the back of the site, trying to create some space for them. It's a Showstopper now offloaded in response to this pit. Drop down in their faces. Not a lot to work with, yet still blindly firing away. Icy cleaned up in the process. Losing players here, but with the pit remaining, Jonah P no longer a problem. He's picked off. And with it, the pit will fall. Leaf has to do a lot. A little bit too much to overcome. Trent, slightly ajar, taps away, no way, forcing into the 1v1. And John QT unable to even get half. Destroy with a horn stick and half and swing to deny Trent. A monstrous clutch.
That might be the dagger right there. What in the hell just happened with Trent? They're all stepping up at this point. Just ridiculous, every single one of them.
That wasn't even a good plant for him. He had to get 2 on the cross because it wasn't planted for Mound. He throws the hole towards the end, and yeah, at that point it's tough for John QT to play it. But my God, how has he got 2?
Swings and roundabouts here. Second half of Lotus. Heavy stack of the players. 4 from Sentinels committing to this one and trying to disrespect through into the one-way. The punish in sight, Annihilation wraps himself around. Trying to break this one, but the punish is still there. Predicted in terms of the movement and the pathing. There has to be a rotation now from G2.
Do you use Icy's ult in this round? You're in a 3v4, it doesn't look winnable for you, no real map control. Are you just trying to look to save that?
He comes from the school of EG, so he might just send it. Despite the situation, Sentinels is fully rotating with the deadlock util put down on A.
A entirely, they just gave it up. Willing to try and fight this one. It's a double, high, low. Needs to be that response.
There it
is. And that's a rocket. It whistles straight past. Narrowly avoiding falling. 2 to stand here for G2. Tens. Slightest of off angles here, but a horn not broken for him. He's revealed, sees now nade, rebounding into the corner. Trent is so damn low. 11 HP still now, sticking in, easily covered. Icy, he will drop and fall, and the jumping peak again paves the way for victory here for Sentinels.
That one was tough to close out. It should have been easier, to be honest, especially considering that the showstopper got nothing. But that's a massive difference. Icy chose to invest it. It was close, but no cigar there for G2. Sentinels bring it back within 2, and they bled out one huge tool to be able to get into sight. Something that the Sentinels even would be scared of playing against, that showstopper.
Planted. Sensors tripped.
G2 are now going to take a tactical timeout. The big ult that they now have to work with is the lockdown, which is still going to be super useful. Again, if you can find the site.
A good way to close out the America's regular season here. And we still got a lot to play for.
Those are the stakes that these 2 teams are playing for. Top place in the playoffs. Yet to be played next week here. Sen, a little bit more, I suppose. Just a guaranteed spot at champs if they win this. Nothing big.
And not just the positives for the winner, but the loser ends up playing against 100 Thieves, who I know that they lost today, but they're the winners of stage 1, and at times this year have looked absolutely on fire. There are still possibilities that you could miss out on champs by losing to them in single elimination.
Yeah. Reminds me of last year's LCQ, where 100 Thieves and Sentinels did play in that single elimination game. So interesting how it could end up at the end of the day.
Ten still holding on. Sassy by his side. Horn's going to be broken. Paranoia flies forwards here. G2 running out of options. 35 seconds onto the clock. Where do you set your sights? Over towards B, but already the stack is red here by Sentinels. Make sure they've got plenty of players left to watch this one. Hello, the movement just going slightly ajar. Icy is getting away with murder. Here, John QT, though, finally steps up and around. Dodging, juking, any sort of util that comes his way. And no more time. You don't want to be saving these guns into the next. You need to get that plant down.
10 seconds left.
There's no chance, right? They're not going to be able to get to the site in that time.
No chance.
TP.
Oh, he's got it!
Oh.
He's got it!
We play on. Pulling that one from nowhere, and even an ult committed. There's respect being shown by Sen. They want to close this one out. Jonah P.
John QT's away.
Looking around from behind. John QT. Importance in terms of the fight. Falling around. And one still stands between him and victory. The crowd wants it, chanting away. A bit of spam into the corner will seal his fate. Valen just cowering. Doesn't want to give too much away, and finally, it's claimed.
The crowd feels it. It might be coming home for Sentinels.
That's a violation, but I'll ignore it because it's an eye by power race.
John QT is absolutely the fire starter right now. So many huge moments from him. Whether it be with the Classic, whether it be with the Vandal holding down against the anti-eco, when G2 just got 2 kills on the site. And that's Bang's mother praying right there.
I'm not sure who she'd rather see 100 Thieves playing against.
Full frontal aggression by G2. Coming up with the goods with Zekken dropping and falling. Mid a round like this, if you are G2, sets you up nicely. You haven't really been able to hold on to control of A main at all. You've been losing that battle, that war of attrition that's occurring.
It's a crazy good opening pick for G2 to get. Sentinels actually got TenZ posted up with an operator on the other side of the map, thinking that this was going to be a lockdown on Sia.
Sassy sees it, catches the contact, lockdown now.
That's breakable with the Odin.
Placed down, thin walls, spamming away and broken. You called it, Anne. Sassy's still able to just hold his ground.
Whoa!
Stand it down.
This is so
annihilation. John QT just missing the read and the timing on this one, but G2 can be a quirky team in that regard. Rebounds off, but no
They were
connection.
in there. He could have gotten that, but he just chooses to fire it off when he knows they should be hiding.
Yeah, it seems like much better to save that for the next wave of attacking utility. But Zellsis has got them pressed in at the back. Their only escape option here is over towards B, which I'm surprised that SEN are not looking to try to cover.
30
Door's
seconds
been
left.
opened wide. Might as well roll out the red carpet.
This looks like it's on Zellsis. Do they read his position over towards B main?
Trips down, here's the plan. It's all happening all at the same
Spike
time here, just
planted.
trying to catch these low timing's potential, just in case there are stragglers from the G2 camp. They've set themselves up now into it. And just in that transitionary period, I mean, Jonah P was not ready for a fight there, but seems like neither was Zellsis. He's the one who falls, and is this going to be a save?
Wow, they're going to call the save. Zellsis and Sassy without really any credits in the bank. And they want to keep hold of the op, the Odin. Remember, TenZ, I'm not sure he's even fired a shot. Did G2 even know that he has an operator at this point?
I don't think so. I think you're right.
So it's entirely possible that the gambit that TenZ went for, by picking up this op, could still have value in the next round if G2 run into it.
It's super important to keep those guns, and they do. I would love to see that shot from Jonah P's perspective, because it feels like, you're right, transitionary periods when he's not expecting, but he feels like one of the best players in the world when it comes to those moments.
Do you remember on Bind, TenZ got the flank onto him over towards
Yes.
Fountain? Jonah P swings around, deletes him. It's also the movement from Jonah P. When he gets startled, he reacts with his keyboard, not his mouse.
Right.
Dodges the bullet, and then he's able to respond because the other player's standing still.
Always dancing around it here. This is the gambit. TenZ operating in his hands. They didn't want to reveal it. They didn't want to show their hands. He has to get value here. Going to come down to a very precise timing. Double Satchel's play.
He's on top.
Up and above and around. Not quite spotting it. He just feels pressured a little bit too much. He can't remain steadfast.
I don't think Lexi saw it, though.
I don't think so either. I think maybe concerned about the haunt there. Nobody breaking it for him or something like that. And that's still a tough shot to land over the Viper wall.
Calling for the pause. The buffer in the round here for G2. This often will throw a team or two for a loop.
I think TenZ has got a very difficult shot to make here because it's not a long sight line in his current position. If the Viper wall goes up and G2 explode through it,
Where are
he's
you?
got to be hitting clean shots with the op.
I also find it incredibly difficult to get off of these A site positions when you have an operator.
Sassy
Face
just
your
trying to put that
fear.
pressure and apply it. He's with the heat now. Nightfall has to be respected. Icy, he's fast in the trail as well. Sniffing them all out for the back of the site, revealed and spammed away. There's no hope
30
in hell.
seconds left.
And Sassy just could not work his way through that one. A nade rebounding forces the satchel away. Once more, 3 players
There.
to stand for Sentinels, and a decision is made for them. They cannot play into this.
I think the TenZ op is hurting them more than helping them at this point. That's a spot where if he's got a rifle in his hand, his current form on Lotus, I think he's taking one with him. But unfortunately, G2 pushed him into an uncomfortable spot where he's taking close range fights and actually has to swing into them with the operator as well. Even for a player with as hot a hand and as good a track record as Tens there, those shots are just too difficult to hit consistently.
I think you're right. But for this next round, still carrying these 3 guns forward, that operator is going to lay lying on the ground there at the back of the site. And it won't be a problem going forward.
No. But G2 are at 12. Only 1 round now separates them from that 2nd seed in Americas.
Oh, what? That's it. Did he not get the shot off?
Must not have done.
Barely missing it.
It looked like he was still moving, too.
30 seconds.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of movement error.
You're completely right, Josh. G2 up to 12. Worries already settling in here for Sentinels. There are no second chances here into this match. You need that 2nd seed spot. Just peace of mind at the back. Just there for you. Either G2 or Sentinels, you can feel it. Both of these teams are giving it their all. And G2 just holding that slightest of advantages.
And remember, because Leviathan have locked in, no one really knows who would win a game like that.
Into playoffs with Split out of the map pool, with Abyss coming in. It is upset
Chaos.
City in that singular limb portion of the playoffs. You do not want to be here. And that's what both of these teams are playing for. G2, 1 more round away. And they'll do it. This is full emphasis being placed over towards C. Showstopper, it was earned prior. Trips into the face as well, but the timing just ducked straight past it. Icy, he's hunting. Hot onto their heels.
Oh.
Tail end of the fuse, just doesn't quite get it off still.
I mean, that space, though.
He's not going to be pushed away from this spot. Sentinels have to answer this somehow. Util into their hands. The Prowler at least catching on to that contact. And a kill. It is there. Icy is not able to escape away from this one here. Has to be fast and loose once more from Sentinels, but it has to all come together. G2 entirely off-site. They want to play this one straight away. Winning these fights. Valid brings it at 4v4. Time to get away. Paranoia sweeps its way. Tens. The pressure is applied, but his team needs to at least get onto this here. What is the call? Nobody finding it. Time is ticking. Options escaping. And Sentinels just can't quite manage it. Kills need to be found. Flooding forwards. G2, Patience wins the day.
G2